Okay.
Is
Okay.
okay?
Yeah, we're perfect. All
All
right.
right.
So, welcome, Sanna, to the recording of this interview.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So tonight we want to touch on a few subjects in regards to what's happening at the moment. As we spoke briefly about just before the last week with the supermoon stretching out for about 3 days, that pretty much blurred everyone's brains. What kind of experience did you have personally going through this week? Like, what kind of things did you have to deal with in your own personal view?
Yeah, well, it's like I went very deep. I've had a few years of speeding, purging. So I've done a lot the last few years, as many of us have. But around the full moon, there was this a combination of anxiety, deep sorrow, and sadness in my heart, because that is a something that I really feel that is the most important thing for me to truly heal the wound I have in my heart, for many reasons, of course, just to become that sovereign and reclaiming myself and taking back all the aspects of myself, like we're doing, merging with yourself and your oversoul and all your parts of your higher self. And but things that have been, as I feel like I've been a little suppressing, like maybe things that has been going on in my early years in this lifetime that is also connected with past lives, and they doesn't come out as memories per se, but it's more like very intense emotions that comes up. So you feel them, you are recalling them and coming up. And also I've had these triggers around me, like energies has been triggered me, but that is for a reason, to get all this purging on going on. So I had these 4 intense, especially the weekend was very intense, all kinds, up and down, up and down, up and down.
Mm.
And the full moon and the day after the full moon was also like part of that package.
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally sometimes you can't stand it. You just you don't know what to do. You feel so bad inside. It's all these different emotional intensity that comes and goes, even though you know it. And for myself, doing this and you're understanding yourself in a broader way, by going through all these things as you do, by going down to the bottom and up again and crying your heart out for weeks and just laying in bed, can't do anything. We've gone through all these different emotional barriers so many times,
Mm-hmm.
that you start to know and recognize patterns within yourself. So in a way, I can with my mind, I can calm, and I realize and just, lay back a little, and I know what's going on. It's not that I feel that I'm getting sick or going out of my mind. I know that it's something in me that needs to go, that I need to work through, feel, and then just let it pass, like emotionally. So,
Mm-hmm.
but with lots of loving friends, including yourself, and just keep me centered and have love as a focus, and my sovereignty, and just
Mm-hmm.
be kind to myself. That is the most important, just gentle and kind. You can go through, I went through it just like I've done many times, even though when you are in it, it's like the
Mm-hmm.
hurricane. But yesterday I came out of it and felt like this heartfelt bliss and a deeper understanding, like my heart gave me a present. So many synchronicities came yesterday, with in lots of different ways, especially where I'm meant to go, and how I mean, it's not about the details. It's like an emotional barrier, like a blockage, and you just have this knowing about yourself that leads you to a confidence, like an inner confidence that is more fulfilling. So I knew that this full moon purging, um, it was almost like the last kicker, you know, like the kick in the butt, so to speak. So as I've been talking to lots of different friends that goes through the same thing, everyone is still in it. A few hasn't felt so much. Others just feel bliss totally because they've done their inner work, and others, you know, you never know what's going to come up because we're all different and we all have our unique path. But like I said, like lots of came out, and I'm just now in this like observing mode where I know where to go, and I feel like I'm confident enough to step forth in a different way, more out there in service. But it's also a knowing, an inner knowing, that I just the trust, but being like it's a releasing feeling to know that I am as good as I can be every time, every moment. And just to be in that position, in that state of mind, state of heart, it's so easy to take decision and feel the clarity to different things. So and you know, just like I always say, the amazement I always feel with the synchronicity that comes as just small things that you get, like maybe something, a chunk of information you got half a year ago. Oh, and then you get like the last piece that was missing in that chunk. I got a lot of those yesterday. So it's like you just put the pieces together, and when it's meant to happen, it's meant to happen. And then when you realize all these things, like epiphanies and all these sensations that can come through, you know that time and space doesn't exist in that. It's just emotions. And whenever you're ready, the new information will come forth, because then you will understand it. Then you're mature to understand it. So I had one of those days yesterday. So I hope that it will continue because it's exciting months ahead.
Yeah, definitely. For me personally, I went through. I've been on this journey for like progressively through my teenies, from the age of 16, having more of a grasp and understanding, because as soon as I could get onto the internet, you know, when we still have the dial-up internet, I used the internet to develop a understanding of the world that I lived in, because, I mean, yeah, your parents might know a certain amount of things, but they're brought up in that system, in that culture. So the internet was that platform where I could personally learn about the construct of society, the social construct, the economic, the psychology of how people are living and how they're being treated and why they're being treated that way, and who it is that's actually influencing them from behind the scenes. And it just takes, it starts in the middle and just expands out like an onion, like layered onion. And it's just, it blows your mind when you get to the point where, okay, I understand the human condition to a greater extent, where I can relate to humanity, what they're going through, and the actual the fractal nature of the existence of us when it comes to the emotions and the down to the genetic level, and going down to Mother Earth and our connection to Mother Earth, and then going back up into the universe, and drawing inspiration from like Nikola Tesla and Wilhelm Reich and Terence McKenna and Alan Watts, to kind of get an understanding of how it is to actually get outside the box, outside the conditioning of our minds, and just start expanding more and more in ways that you wouldn't have been able to otherwise, and breaking those barriers. And it literally feels like you're creating new connections, like when you get into things like secret societies and understanding the so-called handlers or managers of Earth. You, for me personally, I found myself some nights laying there curled up in bed for 2 days, shaking and in fear, because I couldn't imagine that being the case. Like, I thought that after the year 2000 we would actually progress, and then when I realized something was not right, and then that prompted me to kind of gain curiosity as to why haven't we really progressed in the last 14, 15 years. And it gets deeper and deeper, and as some people say, you go into the rabbit hole, like
Yes.
when you watch the movie Matrix, for example. That really kind of illustrates the nature and the course that we could have gone or could go, or if we take our sovereignty back and our power back, like people are at the moment in certain parts of the world, like with the DAPL pipeline movement in America, and also protest and movements within England and Europe itself. It's a very chaotic to a certain extent, but it goes to show that the healing shows itself in different forms.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
for us, for you and me and John and other people, it's we come to the realization, and then it spreads out to the mainstream, to the main masses, and it manifests in the movements that we are seeing at the moment in America, with certain people realizing, sure, Donald Trump may not be the best option, and they hate the fact that Donald Trump is the president. But the fact is, certain people's views, the reality from a higher perspective is that Donald Trump is what you get. You see what you get, and you can actually get triggered by him to actually make a change. Otherwise, you have Obama and Hillary, who are pretty much the same, who will cater to the masses and do what they want to do anyway. So it's a fantastic opportunity, and yeah, I find it very exhilarating.
Yeah, I mean, what was really happening? I mean, first of all, for me, this thing with election that is beforehand rigged and already decided on very much higher levels before. Mm-hmm. So that has been the case for thousands of years. We've been living under the same program for thousands of years, and when the election in the States was very symbolic, and Trump won of the population vote. So it was a different kind of way. When higher Rome's, it was like a heavenly intervention that was going on behind the scenes. And of course, we know all about the craziness that went on in during the election. But what I feel as an observer and as looking down on the whole situation, I just know that by him being elected, we actually started a completely new timeline, because we got rid of a certain establishment that has been, it's not yet over and done with, but it was a big step in humanity. And all the chaos now after is just the afterburst, because people are getting into their out of their comfort zones and getting out there, and they're getting into the crash, boom, bang, awakening state. They're going into their dark night of the soul, because they are not in their little bubble anymore. They have to react, and of course the media would span on this and will use it, of course, and they can twist and turn all kinds of things. But in the greater of things, in universal sense, this, as I see it, will actually be we needed this. The collective humanity needed this. We need to change something. You always need to have a breakdown. It's like the cellular memory. It's like nature or the cell structure. You need to completely destroy or 0 point something to start over again. It's like with nature, you need to have a fire or a catastrophe to raise something up again and make it stronger. So it's the same way. We are organisms. We are part of this this whole creation. So to put a society in shock first, like you can say that it has become that way in many ways, we people that are more aware of this, we need to hold space and just send out love and light, and just be there for people that are confused or are struggling from within, because they are reacting because they're feeling insecure and they're feeling out of place inside. That's how they react this way, and the panic comes. But what you were talking about a little earlier about what you felt growing up, it's like tied to all of this, because I can only agree with you, and especially when you were talking, I just felt like you're like an empath, and growing up as an empath, you have a deeper love and understanding within yourself already coming into this world, and that makes it easier for you to be open and not programmed into thinking certain things. You can be labeled and have different patterns, but it's easier for you to see a bigger picture and dig deeper and understand what's going on behind the scenes. And that is the same for me. I've always been that way since I couldn't understand why people was hurting each other and all of this, the emotional sensitivity that comes with feeling a lot, like I've always have, and haven't been able to control it. Like I put the guilt on myself. What's wrong with me? Why do I feel certain things from people coming into a room? Why do I feel all these energies? I didn't understand. And so you put all this thing on yourself instead. That is like part of if you're not in balance within yourself. So that is something I've been working on, especially these last few years, from 2012 when I started to really dig into the rabbit hole, like you said. But after, I've always been open and always been curious and always believed and have seen certain things, like when I was younger, growing up, like spaceships, and I don't have so many recollections and memory of close encounters, but I know because I don't remember that just yet, because I know it's not time for me to remember all of it will be so much, because right now I'm still in a very intense process in my own personal self-empowerment journey. So things will reveal itself when it's time for me to do, but I felt everything in motions. Like I feel when I have a knowing, it comes from the inside. So I've been working a lot on my trust issues with myself, with my self-confidence, with my self-love, with my self-realization, my intuitiveness, just getting back to the core of who I am, like revealing, by healing, I reveal the one I am. And then I have, you do your research, you do all of these things, and things first doesn't make sense, and you go through all these things within yourself, purging and integrating and things like that, and just the realizations that comes, when you go through these different subjects, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
alternative views or just the unknown or different things, you know. I've been all over the place. But
Mm-hmm.
we all need that research period, and you know, you're never ending learning, a never ending learning process. And right now, you know, when with the escalational energies and just, I mean, I don't know how you feel, but it's like now we have like this, or I have this, or it's like I am relaxed within myself. I'm not surprised to anything that's going on. When I first of all, I don't watch TV, and I don't read so many, like the mainstream, but whatever comes through and what I see, it's very easy for me to see, energetically speaking, what's behind it, or the deeper meaning, or what's not true and what is, and how they want to twist things.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's really it's amazing how things can be so put upside down and make sense if you look at it from a perspective that can be realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Because but then again, I know it's not, or at least not for me. But that is where the patient comes in, because by know things, you have to be you know, a person that has to have patience for others. You need to hold the light for others, and just be gentle with other people that has their own road to step forth. Everyone has their own path and development in themselves. So it's that is also something that it takes a while to not just burst out everything you want to say to people. You know, that's also like a balance, not to get triggered, because
Mm-hmm.
that is also your inner mastery, by holding that space and having the calmness, and just know that everything has a time and space
Yeah.
for things to come through, and so we'll see what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, as you're reawakening or progressively coming to like a launch point, like of was, it is when you find out that you have these people behind the scenes that are actually provoking and planning all these things. It's not a natural occurrence. It's nothing happens by choice. I mean, it's all planned beforehand uh, by influence. Um, yeah, it's like you find out about the different occult societies. You find out about the corporations and how they put together and engineered to actually really chip away at your health. It's not just about the fact the genetics dictate whether or not you'll get cancer or not. It's yeah, sure, to a certain extent, cancer does can spread from one generation to another because of damaged genetic material within the two people, the parents. But it's not a end all and be all. It's only when you really get down to understanding your own body, how you can actually speak to your body through frequencies, through music, and understanding the effects of each different frequency band, like 432, 528, and going up to 936, and each adhering to a different part of your body. As well as just generally helping reorganize the cells within the body to kind of trigger them to realign to where they're supposed to be. And that way, for example, you stop having to rely on the Medicare system, like that we call it here in Australia, Medicare system, where whether they cut it or not, it doesn't matter for you at this point when you get into a state of harmony within yourself.
Yeah.
Because
It's all about the empowerment, because it's also a self-belief that once you know, and once you know that your thoughts and fear can create a sickness within you, and that you can control your body and you can self-heal, and just by, you know, that society you can actually create by like making a society think that there is a disease, that disease creates, because we create with our thoughts, and it goes out there. So that is just one thing. But the thing, once you start to understand that is the hard part of seeing all this injustice, where people, you know, about the vaccinations, and people get autism, or, you know, just children dies, and I mean, people get treated so badly, and all of these things, you know, with like poison, GMO, and all that other crap. That is the hard part. And of course, other things like animal abuse, and just these things that makes your heart break. And that is just part of self-healing as well. So coming into that and want to become a better person, because when you wake up and start to understand, if you want to become a better person, you just do this spring cleaning throughout your whole body and your essence and your spirit, and you're getting a deeper connection with your soul, and you just start to get all these deeper meanings about life and creation, and you know that there's a deeper meaning for existing. So you want to keep yourself, you know, it's like it's an automatic flow of just cleansing. It's like, it's not a thing that it's a process. It's a natural process from, you know. And so by going through, I mean, I'm the same. I prefer holistic treatments. I prefer, and you know, like sound healing and stuff like that, Reiki, like I'm doing myself, you know, that type of thing. To just things I know is out there that has been suppressed, but I know will come out. That is the exciting thing about next year. I feel that a lot of new things will come up, and when the free flow and the calmness has been put on the society, and people can start breathing, you know, for real, not living in the fear and the safe mode all the time. And they're finding their peace in their heart, and their joy start to open up, and then they start to blossom, you know. And they just know their passion in life, and the amazement and the creation that comes with that. So I just see these communities growing and want to be healthy and have these green gardens and music, and think about frequencies and sounds, and taking back the ancient wisdom, and just people will start to remember, you know, the good things about our history and things they've done. You know, it's like, you know, if you had a bad relationship, and a couple of years later you're looking back at that relationship, and the bad things, usually you can't place, maybe of course if you had a traumatic, but usually if you look back at your life, usually you remember the good things, because they vibrate higher. Love vibrates higher than fear or trauma or sadness. So usually, you know, it's not always the case, but because we're only human, and that's the beauty of us, the range of our emotional spectrum. That is what makes us masters and unique in this universe. And that is something that came to me yesterday, but it's just a little thing that once we get in harmony and reconnect for real with nature, the element, the animal kingdom, all the plants and everything, you know, it's like we have come so far away from our truth by looking for the truth outside ourselves, when we know it's all about the inside. We know that there's the truth, our inner universe. That is all we need. We are already complete. We are already whole. It's just this programming that have been placed on us for thousands of years. But just now, when we start to come back to ourselves and start to remember the truth, and just the simplicity and the organic, natural truth of who we are, I mean, when we start to really explode in love, we will have such an amazing, because once you know where you've been before, you will have such appreciation for the love, because you remember how it is otherwise. the enormous love that we will like pound up the already existing love within us will be such amazing that what came to me yesterday was like, first we will have this amazing love connection with the animals and our nature, like tripled as we can even imagine. And then Earth will actually be the planet that will lift up, because it just came to me, and I'm getting the shivers now. This planet is so special for many reasons, and we already know that. But it's special in a way, and I'm speaking from a love point of view here. And it's been placed like that. It was all of this was meant to happen for this moment in time now. And now when we rise above it and we will come to this love explosion, it will be like a ripple. And everything we have gotten these last years with different waves coming in and solar explosions and all this love that has been sent from all over our galaxy and beyond from source to help us now, we will give that back, like this gigantic love wave 10 times fold, like we already do, because with our hearts, we're sending out. But when it happens, when we get to that gigantic, it will be like this massive love greeting explosion, thankful gratefulness type of energy burst from Earth that will literally shake our whole universe. Because nothing can be unbalanced. It's like, it's a feeling. It's so hard to put words on it, but it's just a knowing that by going down so deep into the darkness as we've have been doing for a reason, coming up, to this point, and just, the recognition, and then once we just let ourselves loose into the hole, we will go wild.
Yeah, definitely. It's like what came to mind was the yin yang balance of the energies coming to a point of the energy is coming in, and then it's like a wave of water, like on a beach. It comes in and goes out. So it comes in, gives you something, and takes something back for itself to kind of like cultivate something new. So it's recycling the old and coming out with the new continuously, and it's infinite. And yeah, I mean, from my understanding from what I've found out, one of the reasons that we are being assisted so much is because of us being one of the last planets to actually lift up into the higher frequencies. And each planet in the universe is connected through an energetic grid, so to speak, a network. So in order for that network to function, every part of that network needs to be synchronized and harmonized. And if one section is not in harmony, then the rest of them, like cells in the body, go towards that cell and observe the cell, and these other cells try to figure out what it is that's going on and why it's happening, and try to invoke what we know as love to kind of help us heal and come back to that balance. For example, the Andromedan galaxy, we have amphibious fish-like beings, amphibious, we can call them, that actually do communicate with us, with certain people, and channel information to create that understanding that this is how it is. This is why we're doing it. So sure, there's an agenda, but the agenda is connected to the universal kind of symphony that's going on in what is termed as the great work in universal terms, with all the different alliances and councils that are out there actually working to kind of just simply get us to be one big family in the universe. Wouldn't
I mean, we humans. I mean, first of all, I'm so proud of calling myself a human, but we're so much more because we've been living all over, and we're having all these aspects and parallel lives continues, and so we are part of all these councils that are out there. But once we go galactic, and I already know that I will be out there teaching, you know, because we will become the teachers after this. Well, once we finally get the close contact, like collective contact with our galactic family, then they will be there for us, you know, also, you know, helping us and getting us into our new, but we will also help them, because that is also like we're always exchanging energies, and we're learning them so much. And but just because it's about the emotions. We are a unique race when it comes to emotions, but we also have all the galactics in us since the very beginning, like in our DNA. So we are very special in that way, and there are many of us, like humans from other planets as well, that are really, as I felt, they're waiting for the moment when we step up and come into this new era, because they are missing their planet. Like humans that have left the planet in different cataclysms and different downfalls that has been going on. It's been 5 or 6 on our planet before that. The civilizations are going down complete, and they have to start anew. So our planet is much, much older than has been presented and what we think. And I don't have all the answers, you know. I'm excited to you know, just to open up some library, like universal library, even though we already have access to it, but just all these new things that can be available for us, and will be in a very near future. But we will be out there in the universe teaching others in other planetary systems, helping them by understanding where we have been. So we'll be their teachers. And I mean, there are different levels of societies out there. I mean, it's like we have to understand that we're all organisms and crystals inside of ourselves. My gosh. It's lots of purging. Speaking your truth means you get all the things just want to come up to release. So it's like you said, we're all family, and they are also here to help us because they are our family, and they have been part of our history, changing us, living with us before. They have been here, come and gone, you know, throughout ages. So they're here to help, but also claiming their own karma, because we have galactic karma as well. So we are all doing our part. So it will be the great reunion. Oh, we'll see what happens. But I can't wait to physically hug my brothers and sisters out there.
Yeah.
Maybe I have, but
I'm sure you have. Like, even though I personally have a degree of connection, and like in terms of ability to, like you said, being empathic and picking up on the different degrees of it, energy from the collective or individually. I mean, we need to really understand that in order for you, who is, you know, homesick, you just want. Some people just want to, you know, I'm just sick of this reality. I just want to go back to wherever I came from, and some people get stuck in these loops that I keep seeing, where it just becomes like a stagnation and creation of suffering, instead of realizing that in order for me to actually progress, I have to realize that I have the universe within myself, like you expressed. And if I'm a universe within myself, and then there needs to be a harmony within the universe, then I need to face not only the light side of things, but also the dark side of things, because it all goes hand in hand. It's all very much interlinked, as expressed in regards to the yin yang understanding, the circle of life and all that stuff, and how everything needs to be in balance, going back and forth.
Yeah.
And yeah, the sooner you surrender, in terms of realizing, going with the flow and being like water, and allowing yourself to form into those different situations, and just uh, knowing that you're eternal. Whatever you're going to go through at this very moment of now is not going to kill you. It's not going to destroy you. It's going to strengthen you to a point where you can pretty much be in your center, and just enjoy the fact that you're in knowing within yourself, especially with the heart space, like being able to open that heart space becomes like a hand that's pointing you this way or that way, or upwards, to kind of get you to go where you need to be.
You become stronger within your inner and outer senses. And that is the beauty and the elegance in life, and the grace of what you're feeling for yourself and for all life, when you start to realize that, you know, creation is eternal and endless and never limited by nothing. Nothing is there to stop. I mean, it's a free will, but you're so much more. And once you start to realize that, the fear goes away, it fades away. You can still have the everyday emotional crap sometimes, and crap is not the right word to say, because everything is meant for you to show you the way to become a better person. So it's up to you to make the choices and the decisions to be, every time you wake up, what is your choice to do? What do you want to create? What do you want to make? Step up. It's all about the completion, and feel good about yourself, and then you will shine out from your heart space, that light that you will provide to others, and affect them with your light, and make them find their way back to the light. You know, it's a process. So that is the beauty and the wonders of, and the magic that comes with. And of course, it's not, I mean, it's the hardest thing, but you know, coming to a point where you start to truly feel yourself. You can literally say, I'm feeling myself. That's, you never want to go back. You can't. And that is when I see you and you're talking about that type of thing, you know, you just glow. And that is when I feel I do, that is when I feel the best within myself, when I speak about these things. The other things are there to observe and to walk through, because it's part of life, and you should honor everything. Everything is energy. So it's up to you to put a positive attitude on things, or see things from a lack standpoint. You know, is the glass half full or is it half empty? It's your choice, and it's very easy. And once you start to get a hold of, or start to handling just these few things, it's like a stepping process of just becoming. It's so much easier to live in your truth than you realize, because you're so used to live in a certain way. And not that you're not a good person. I mean, 99.9% of the people on our planet are heartfelt, wonderful people. And then, of course, things can happen that make, you know, program them, and they just put walls around their hearts. And that is the only thing. Once you realize that you can terminate those walls, you can break them down because you have the power, then nothing is endless, nothing is limited you from doing anything. And that is the paradise. I mean, if you are living in that, if you try to live in that frequency and just becoming a better person and just being your authentic self, you already have ascended, because you're living through your higher self. So it's not about a time or a day, it is about the way of being that will rise the world. And
Yeah.
that is my
One of the questions that I actually received earlier this week was from a young teenager who's only like 16 years old. It's just amazing to run into people that are that age and in that awareness already, like knowing that there's a greater thing out there in terms of existence. But the question is, like, how do you start to, like, if the heart is the source of and the portal of actually what is to radiate out into the rest of the body in terms of triggering and activating your potential. She asked, how do I do this? How do I actually get into my true compass that's going to actually get me where I need to be? Sure, I have a knowing and I understand things aren't right, and I have most of us have a degree of distrust straight up, especially when we realize that the world around us is a bit of a illusion, pretty much. In your view, what was your experience in actually going into your heart and realizing and surpassing the part of being an illusion and coming into progressing from the heart space? Like, how did you start to do it? What was your process?
Yeah, well, first of all, we are all different, and we can all start to realize things. And when you start open up, you can come from a tragic moment once you just start to question things in life. That was the case for me. But you don't have to have a certain way of living by coming into a space. When your time is right, you will feel it. So what she did, this 16-year-old girl, the first thing she did was she asked the question, how can I do it? That is the first step. You're using your mind by looking around, and there is something, you start to question things. It doesn't matter where you start from. If it's something that you feel is not, you become restless or unsatisfied with life itself. There's something not completely accurate with whatever is going on. And that thing that can trigger that for me was, I've always been an empath and sensitive, but I've put a lot of blame on myself throughout my earlier years, and up in my 20s. And by being a certain way, like how society wants you to be. But I've never felt like I've been struggling with myself. But it's been like you start to believe in yourself so much that you are a certain person, that you are, but you are. Because in that way, in those days I was. So I don't blame myself for that, but it's more like an inner feeling that the sensitivity that I didn't understand. But what came with me was that I came through I had a very challenging relationship that was very was drawn out. So it became very destructive. And after I left that situation, I just wanted to put it behind me. So I just went through with my life and acted as nothing was going on. But more and more, I felt sick inside. I felt, this is not right. So I went into myself, into my space, and started to do a lot of research, and just started to open up more and more. and asking questions about who am I, what am I doing with my life, where am I going. You know, I was in my mid-30s and or around there, and I, you know, just things, society, even friends, coincidence, my family, you know, you start to just everything around you, you wanna just purge. It's like a natural way of putting yourself in a position where you feel that if something is going on here, I want to know the answer. So that is the first step for me, you know, start to, and then went through the process where I just started to open up more and more. And I a big moment that I can share, but it was one of the first. I started to meditate because I got in contact with different communities and people that, you know, you attract what you need at that moment. So like different things on YouTube, just finding, doing research, like different things like movies, start to have this deeper understanding. And I remember I had this dream where I felt, well, after I felt it was actually my grandmother that has been my guide, my spirit guide, my grandmother on my mother's side. So I felt it was in a dream, and I had this very like distinct that she was talking to me through the dream, and she said, you have to open your heart. You have to, and this was what came through, but I remembered when I woke up. You have to get love crystals, like love crystals, to start working with love crystals. She said love, what in Swedish, love crystals. And I to start to open up your heart. And the crystals, and I didn't own any crystals. I had no idea about certain kinds of minerals and all of these things. And so, you know, that came, and I did research and started to just, that was like a part of it. And then just doing that inner journey by going to different teachers and doing like different sessions, the meaning of life, what's my the point of me being on this planet at this time, my history, just that was my way of just starting to open myself up to myself and the deeper understanding of life and everything, because the love has always been there, but the deeper understanding of myself and what has been going on with me throughout past lives and what I've been taking on as a person, and start to understand the way things have gone in this lifetime, you know, certain things that has been presented and choices I've made and patterns I've put on, and the family I've been incarnated into, and what that gave me, and things that happened in my early childhood, and just emotions and things, just it makes the tree that is you, like you are your own creation, and all these branches and the leaves and everything has a different meaning and a different pattern, and that just makes made up me. So and just by knowing that and getting a self-value of yourself is and to honor yourself, that is the biggest thing to wanting to open your heart, because you, first of all, you do, but just start to asking questions. So from your mind, you place the intention in your heart, and there's a lot of different practices you can do, you know, meditations, just focusing on your heart space, living your truth, authentic self, doing things that brings you joy, you know, listen to the music you like, do things that you like, not people that tells you that this is what you should do. And especially if you're in your teens, you know, I don't know, I love to dance and sing when I was in, so I did lots of those things that brought me joy. And so whatever, because your uniqueness is what is your gift, and that is the only thing you need to do in this lifetime. It's not about the job or the occupation. Well, that's part of it, but because if you choose what you want to do, that is part of you. But you should always be grateful for who you are, and we are all placed on this earth for a reason, where we all have a part to play. And so just, I mean, it can be hard, to be relaxed in that, but it's a self-realization, and just, there's so many things you can do. I myself like to have it kind of simple, not to put so many ceremonies over me and rituals. And I mean, that's all good. I don't mind that. It can be, but it have to be fun. It shouldn't be like a struggle, or I have to do that, because it's all about the intention you're putting out. So if you don't like it, you just put out negativity. I mean, it's that you don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also, a thing to remember is that even though you don't feel like you are in your heart space, even by thinking that you want to be there, it's perfect, because you're sending out. So by you thinking that, oh, I want to be a greater person, I want to speak to a person that might help me, you're already doing so much for yourself. So it's that little tiny thing, just by thinking about it, just by, you don't want, you can't go out there in 3 days to save the world, no one can, but you do what you can do.
Mm-hmm. Would you, when it comes to approaching other sources of information or other people, like you and me talking on camera, would you say it is important to have an open mind, but also having a discernment at the same time when you're kind of taking in information? Because certain people, like I kind of mentioned before, might have a hesitation at the start, because of what they've come to realize. How do people develop a discernment for what they're taking in your personal experience? How did you come to realize that you were getting to that stage of discernment? And was it did it have to do with your heart space, or was it also your mind that you used?
Oh, I think it's a combination, because the mind is a mastery as well. It's like, for me, the mind is the receiver and the sender,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like the antenna for the heart, a little. So everything, you need everything, but it has to be like a balance, just like the masculine and the feminine that you both have inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all about having like see things in a lighter way, like a joyful way, not look too seriously on things. I myself, I have done lots of research. I have gone to, but to me, it's like I've been drawn to a certain person that has spoken my language. It's like if I've listened to some person that I've never heard, and I hear something that it's like they're speaking my language. I understand that person, and sometimes I have contact in them, or just start to hear them, because I know that it's a reason for me to maybe focus on that type of information right now, because that is what have been presented to me. So everything that comes to you, that is something that, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So the information that comes to you comes or presents themselves. So you find it automatically. It doesn't matter where it can be in a book, in a YouTube video, a friend that talks to you, a TV show, a movie. To me, it's like it can be a sentence here and there, or it can be like a synchronicity. It comes from everywhere. It's a knowing. It comes from like a download. It can be something that just appears. Like synchronicities in numbers comes more and more when you start to trust and feel strongly in your intuition. You actually start to, it's basically your horizon start to become like a widescreen. And for me, the last, I see symbols and signs in nature. Like I see faces in patterns. I see messages in fabric, in the patterns on the floor. I see like landscapes. I mean, and just in nature, like more and more things that comes to me, because because that is my creation. It's once you open, you have this amazing knowledge inside of yourself, and when you let go and open it, you just reveal more and more. So it will come both from inside and outside. And I have done so much research on all topics possible, and I have gone into that and done all the different things, and you name it, I've been there. So it's all about discernment. If you feel inside, okay, I've had enough of that, or I don't like that, or that, to me is discernment, because you should always listen to your gut feeling. That is like the key, I think, to feel like if something feels uncomfortable, you don't have to do that. It's not necessary, because everyone can't be everywhere at the same time. I mean, it's if you are attracted to certain material, then it's because you already know it. It's like inside of you. So you are attracted to things that is actually who you truly are. Like if you're looking at a person and you're like a famous person, or someone that is a speaker or an author or an artist or musician or something, and you just you look up to them, and they are your hero, that because they are reflecting something to you that you already have inside. Otherwise you wouldn't be drawn to to that person, or to that circumstance, or to that area, or to a certain country, or a certain food, or culture, or ancient wisdom, or anything that you can possibly imagine, because you have been there before, or you are there. And that is the playfulness of just having like don't take it so seriously. That is the thing, the only thing. Like, don't take it too seriously. Listen to your gut feeling. That is like your intuition, and just step by step, let yourself flow in the thing that comes to you. Like, trust in the thing. But usually in the beginning, you don't think so much about the trust part. You just want to dig deep. But that was how it was for me. I want to know everything. And I still do, but it's like I already know that I have an insight, so I'm not as intensely searching for it anymore. Because, but it's like a student, and you start to open up a book, and or like a novel, and you can't put it down. You just need to read it. It's like the same thing.
Yeah. For example, if you want to attract certain situations to yourself, opportunities, would you say that anything can go at this point? Anything is possible at this point, considering the shifts in energies, like people noticing that things are brighter in color and whatnot, and something's just lifted itself up from say this week, or since the day or the day after of the election, things actually started to kind of peel itself away more and more and rapidly. But when you think about anything's possible, like now that I have this connection to source and to universe, sure, I can try to trust that if I put my mind to it, it's going to attract the situation for, let's say, something to happen, like I need to get $3,000 within 10 days. How is that possible to actually attract this? Because I want to invest in something that's, go big. But at the same time, it's like your logical mind pops in and says, well, last time you made that much money was because there was an opportunity to make it. There's a physical situation with your intuition saying, there's something here, you should actually pay attention and ask the question, because this will result in you gaining something that you really need, that you've been looking for. So in that respect, yeah, I can understand it being more realistic in that way, instead of, saying, oh, I need to make $3,000 in 10 days. because at the end of the month, this opportunity might not come again. Do you think that that's a unrealistic expectation? Like thinking that $3,000 is going to present itself in a situation or an opportunity? What do you think?
Do you need $3,000, Jack?
Who doesn't need money at this point?
I know what you
But yeah, I mean, it's just like I trust and I know that anything is possible, because I mean, it starts with creating an affirmation for yourself, because words and the sound out of your mouth is a frequency unto itself, and it's you are the consciousness in this space that's attracting and creating that situation. Sure, but it comes for me that there comes a point where it's a bit too far of a stretch. I was like, okay, so what do I have to do? Do I have to sell drugs, or do I have to do trust in the universe to actually make that $3,000?
Yeah, I don't feel it's like a perfect answer. It's like whatever comes, but it's all about the trust again, or what you feel guided to, and just release, because energy is money is energy, so it's a give and take. So whatever you put out there, if you feel that you're putting out too much of yourself, then there's a reason why you maybe not getting anything back. It's like whatever you're sending out, whatever your intentions are, and how you send it out. I'm still, that is that economical thing. That is like, I'm still in that process, trying to learn that myself, how to manifest certain things. But I also know that if things, things can come in other way, in other, doesn't have to come in money. It can come in other ways so you should always be open to receive whatever comes. But if you need to be in a certain place, and you should be there, and you put the intention out there, if you really need something, you should just say it, yes, and your whole body and heart needs to be there with you. It's not just by saying yes and you feel inside, oh, but this will not happen ever. Then you're like sending mixed messages out, and things will be, it's not that you're blocking it, it's more like you putting it into the future, so to speak. Like it's already there in your energy field, but it's it's like you have so much that you are, you can just reach out and grab like a gold mine if you are in the right element and the right frequency to do so. But as I try to, you're manifesting and things like that, it's about working on yourself as well. It's all part of master yourself and trusting that whatever is supposed to come, it will come, but also have a non-egocentric and selfish attitude and attend towards like giving and taking, because it's it's a flow of in and out. It has to be balanced. So I don't have like the perfect recipe for manifesting $3,000, but because people can be like repeating mantras every day and still it doesn't come, and other people just put it on a paper, or they just thinking, and then they win on the lottery, like that. It's precise. I've heard this amazing stories. That is one of the things I'm still working on, but I know that if I let go and truly want something so badly, and I'm supposed to follow my desire, that is I think a very good key point. Follow your desire. If that is something you really want, you're automatically sending out that is what you need to do something. So if you truly need cash to bring forth something, and it's like, oh, I need to be there and I don't have the money, or it's like, if you need the money, somehow it has to come. Because if it becomes stagnant and you have a desire and it doesn't show up, there's something maybe you should take a look at. Something you have like maybe missed, or but that is like a catch 22. You know, it's a very because we're living in a society where we need money, but it's also the way how you look at the money, and how you look at things, value and be grateful and thankful for what you have, and not what you don't have, and stuff like that. But it's there's no like to me, there's no book you can open, and it's more like how it works best for you. And no, it's not no wrong or right in anything. Whatever you feel works best. If you find a secret recipe for getting 3 grand, I'm sure you can earn lots of money just to give away that.
I mean,
that's all I can say. I don't have like a secret
no, I mean,
holy answer to that.
Yeah, I think pretty much everyone's in that situation day to day. You could try and go and buy a lottery ticket, and if you put your intention out there, then lottery ticket or like a race or something that could bring about that situation where you win that 3 grand within a week. Sure.
And if you it's also like, if you feel like your inner voice tells you, or if you're drawn to buy a ticket, do it. Don't distract yourself by not listening to that gut feeling. It's like you can do it by testing yourself. You can just buy a lottery ticket, and if you don't win, maybe you win the second time or the third time. But it's all about that, listening to that intuition and following the heart, because following the heart means that you're following your desire. What your body tells you want to do, you want to go, you want to experience, you want to listen to. Anything you want is your heart speaking to you, and it's your higher self, or your being, like the truth essence of who you are, that speaks through your heart.
Okay.
Because the heart can't tell a lie.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
But moving on from that, what do you feel personally? Have you received any indication of what you can expect for 2017, whether it's for America or for Europe? What's the feeling and atmosphere that you're getting from, say, Stockholm, Sweden in general, or America itself? What's your understanding at this point?
I feel and believe that things will. It's what I said earlier. Is when people start to. I mean, things have to come up to the surface. So certain things will appear and come up, so people can merge with it and heal. Because there's been so many things that's been going on that needs to. It's not fair for people, for the collective, to not know. So a few things will happen, and I feel that with that, a reaction also comes in natural catastrophes. I mean, it can be more like earthquakes and stuff like that, like around, because it's a cleansing of our planet as well as the collective. So it's energy just coming out. It's like all karma just needs to come out. It's like a collective clearance that happens right now, and that is something that people has to understand, that nature is reacting. Nature, we are part of it. So if we have done something that is not good for our planet, it has to purge, it has to rebirth itself, it has to heal. So that is something that we will still be in. It's a process. But once the frequency goes up on the planet, and we come into more and more, get away from the denser energies, I believe that, well, I felt that the election was very symbolic for the whole planet. How people react, how people respond, how people feel, how they process things. others that have a deeper understanding. So it's people now in a situation of crisis, like for instance in the United States at Standing Rock, that is like people coming together. It's not about, you know, in a chaotic situation, people need to come together, and it's a survival mechanism. We have done this for ages. We have always, you know, if we go down, we have always built up ourselves. And now it's very shaky and crazy, because for the darkness to literally fade out, it will act out. And it acts out not only in wars and chaotic financial systems and politics and stuff like that. It acts out also in the collective, in countries, and just people have enough. So it has to shake and maybe break a little for people to wake up. And when the calmness has come in, you know, when the storm has faded a little, that is how I see it. It's like, you know, step by step. And this is for the whole planet. I believe it will start in America, and it starts because many countries have already, like in the Americas and in Mexico and down in the Americas, a lot of those are becoming more and more stronger and independent, those countries. So look out for those places. And you know, whatever's going on behind the scenes, I don't want to talk details there, because I believe that everything has to come up to the surface. The truth has to come out in one way or another, but you don't have to don't get hooked up and hang up on different details. Just look at the broader perspective. Well, once the people feel less fear and becoming more relaxed within themselves, their DNA structure and cells will not become like a nut, because when they are in fear, the DNA is like tight, so they can't breathe. Their essence, their chi cannot flow. When you are relaxed and when you know and when you are empowered, then you get all the information. But when you are in fear, you are locked. You are, you know, you're just in survival mode. So when that has faded away a little, then more and more people will find their joy inside, and the self-empowerment will come. And I believe that will Donald Trump, certain things will amplify I believe that he will amplify and apply new ways of looking at things, new ways of seeing things. I will not put like a finger on any character, because we're all human and we always learn. So new leaders will rise, because things have to come down, things have to change. We can't have the same structure in any way that we have now. It has to crumble to build up something new. That is my core belief. But I believe that it will happen organically, and no one has to suffer. So I believe that it's already been planned out, and this is also something that we have worked on for thousands and thousands of years, since the very beginning, to come to this point. We are all part of this. We, on a higher level, we already know inside of ourselves, and when we need to know certain things, it will appear to us. So it's like a development, but also just by a society coming together and by opening their hearts, everyone will have a compassion for each other, and if you have a compassion and love for life, you don't want to kill your neighbor. You know, you don't want to. It's a process that, like, just the respect for life and respect for our animals and respect for our planet, that will rise, and we will find our way back to nature again and live in harmony. That's the first things we need to, and that is what I feel the natives, the wisdom keepers on our planet, that it has always been close to nature and the animal kingdom, and and commune has always had that belief since the very beginning, very close to nature, they will actually become our mentors and teachers in the beginning, because people will, when the bubble has broken, like the society bubble has broken, like they start to do, crumble, they will be lost inside. They will start to look for the truth, and they will be lost. And so these people that have the simple way of being, you know, that are close to nature, will nurture us back.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Native Americans, the indigenous people, you know, the people with a deeper knowledge, the ancient knowledge, and the new generation also. So it's, I believe that everything that is in I mean, like in countries, for instance, and speaking of Sweden, for example, we haven't had a war for 200 years, and that it's a reason for that. And even though we have been part of different history and not been the best in many ways, you know, we all have done our fair share of being involved in war anyway. But you know, it's all about that, the old society crumbling down. It's goodness in everything. You can't look at the old just to be like a bad thing. We will get the sparks. We will bring the sparks with us that is different societies, different cultures have. So once we become harmonized within ourselves and in groups and in cultures, and we take down the flags, you know, take down the red flags, and just surrender within ourselves and recognize our value in life, then all societies will have a contribution for the new world. All cultures, religions, everything. There's good in everything, and it's been over us for a reason, because it's a little good in everything. It's like a good, like in the people. It's even though, and we have spoken about this, even if you take like a 5-year education and you know, you're taking like you're studying to become a doctor or something, but you feel afterwards that is not you. There is a meaning for that you took that education, because you will have that, you will implement those teachings and tools in your life anyway, because that is part of you. So even though a society change, you will still have the memories and certain things. So it's like you will bring the good things with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not everything. It's not a waste of time. A lot of things will come up and fade away, but many things, I mean, we will see the lights, the sparks, the jewels, the diamonds in the old, and we will bring it back, repolish it, upgrade it, like the ancient knowledge that has been there for thousands of years, like sound healing and color healing and just toning and other ways of just healing the body and living in harmony and understanding and things like that. And going about doing things. I see the, like, next year and the years to come to have like an overlapping. It will not crash down. I feel the creation will not allow us to just boom, not have anything anymore. Mm-hmm. It will, like, slowly but surely, in a collective but steady way, because that is what we chose. We have already chosen the accelerated timeline, but things, it's a free will society, but people are fed up with lies and threats and living in fear and having all those. I mean, when I feel that things come up, or I feel that I am outside and I feel that there's a lower vibration, I can't stand it. It's I want to be like, you know, you want to live in joy and harmony, and I believe that everyone wants to have the peace in their heart. And some people are so, they, we have forgotten how it feels to truly be relaxed, because there's always, the time and everything in the society, but that has made us masters in stress too. It's like everything, and that is how I see things, because I'm trying to see everything from a positive perspective. So even the most negative, harsh, deep, sorrows, there's always like a jewel in those things as well. So learning. So that is like the main, but also like on local, I believe that we will bring more different communities that just want to live in nature and healthy and organic. I believe more and more those communities will come together, and they will pop up like suburbs, like the old, like in the 60s, suburbs just popped up like in the 50s and 60s, just everywhere. Industrial complex, the how it's been, and just living close to nature and close to your heart, and just that is how I feel that, and people would just yearn for and crave like truth. That is what I feel like, because we are, as humans, we are survivors, and we are curious, and we are creative, and we are inventors by far. I mean, we are so incredible in so many ways, and to use our senses, and even in even how it's been, and to be so creative and do so much, even by being blocked in so many different ways. That's incredible. So just think how it will be once the guard is down, and once we can start breathing. I mean, I'm still surprised sometimes when I see positive news. It's like I'm not used to that. So it's just integrating in peace and grace and honor and respect, and just have gratitude for the small things in the world, the small details, and not give up. Just look over the horizon, and don't be afraid to reach out. That's also because that is something that we have to start learning to do. I myself, just asking for help, asking for assistance, because when I do that from an honorable, heartfelt way, like literally just telling it like it is. I'm honest. I need help with whatever it is. I get always a positive feedback when I'm myself, and just doing as what I'm supposed to do. So it's just little things.
Yeah. When you mentioned the communities popping up, a vision popped up into my mind that I had not too long ago this year, in regards to that, and the way it expressed itself within that experience was that it would be very much looking like people were, pretty much devoid of all those brand name T-shirts or whatever they wore before. Everything would be coming from the mind, from the creation of the mind, and what you wear, and the food. There'll be market stalls like we have in here in Australia. We have in Newtown, in Marrickville, they have markets with custom-made goods, which is far more valuable because it's made with love. It's not made in a factory, so to speak. And pretty much I was walking through the market or through the streets, and the houses there were like what they have now, but I'd say they were left alone because people couldn't pay for the mortgages, and kids, the next generation moved in and created that space as a town, like a tribe, going into each other's houses, having lunch and sharing the food, getting the food that they grew in the garden, stuff like that. Very much mixing in nature with what they have come back to understand is possible within themselves, as being able to use the energy healing skills and other psychic abilities to actually build from the ground up, and maintaining that harmony with nature from that kind of standpoint, and then growing from there. And I think that that's what I was shown. That was the beginning of what will be more of a balanced like civilization, that, and also technology coming to us from whether it's channeling the information through different races, or physically having, say, the Palladians come down to Earth and say, oh, here's this replicator that's going to help you create the things that you need, for example, clothing or particular parts for building something. And that's how it's going to come, like bit by bit. It's going to kind of balance itself out.
Yeah, that is how I see it as well. And by getting more hope and inspiration into everyday life, you will think things are more joyful, and you know, it's affect others. It's like a, you know, you get affected by others' happiness and joy, and it's like, oh, what is he doing? You know, you just see someone sparkling and glowing, and so it will be like a ripple effect, like a domino effect. And it had to start somewhere, so it maybe starts small or so. But even now, I mean, I've lived in Spain for a couple of years, and just by coming back to Sweden again, and just in the town where I live, just seeing all these health stores and alternative things popping up, and just, I mean, it's not just vegan restaurants, it's like specialized, like organic coffee specialized, and just the interior is organic, and people are putting their art there, and they're like co-working together and collectively helping each other. And they have you know, or like a combination of a music store with a cafe, and then they have this little like market on the side, so everything is organic, and or secondhand meets like music stores, and people meet there, so it becomes like a meeting place. And in those buzzing areas, there is where the inspiration creates. Like you get this buzz and this vibrational high, and all the like new ideas, and you just like I said, like we are these people that when we feel joy, we just burst with like energy, and we want to create. That's like the natural process of being. If we are, like, you know, sad and depressed, and that is when we don't want to do anything. I mean, I've been there, you know, been there, done that. But it's amazing to see. I'm just walking like on the south side of the city. It's like just every third place I pass by, it's like some sort of new place, and I'm like looking in, and it's and just you know, as you already know, the world is already so involved in different environments. Like we already have different cultures and different foods in all other countries, like you know, Chinese and Italian and all these things, and we're bringing in all the cultures, and then we make it our own. And of course, with all the movements of different cultures and you know, people coming from different countries and moving to other places, parts of the world, more now than ever. Like myself, I went to Bali for a while, and just integrating that that lifestyle, and you know, it just brings me things. So it's just getting the inspiration from everywhere, and I believe that once the society and the planet becomes more peaceful, it will be easier to integrate and travel, and all people, to me, will have the opportunity to go. They will not be stuck, because it will be more easier to live, so to speak. So that is just, you know, the integration, slowly but surely, like the civilization will rise up, by all these new inventions and free energy, just by thinking about that, not have to pay bills, and just having what you need. That is how I want to live.
Mm-hmm.
And because I know that the most valuable thing for me is to have peace in my heart, and have a harmonious balance within myself, because then I know that whatever I have around me will be peaceful as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I can put a finger on anything that is negative around me that I haven't created myself. You know, it's like, okay, yeah, of course, I can hear bad things on the news, or I can read something, or getting that's something, but I don't have to be involved in it energetically. I can observe it and send love to that thing, whatever it is. I can be involved. You can be involved in so many ways, but like you're saying, like your vision, that is exactly like an idealistic thing, to turn something old and use it and integrate it and come into, because I also see like society and new buildings will be built in a more harmonious way, like not maybe so square, it will be more round shaped, more feminine, because we will use energy, like how we will know how the energy flows, both within ourselves, and how we can build things that actually makes us like self-heal just by being there, or having like these different colors together, and just know more about the fun stuff, you know. And working with different minerals that is alive and breathing, and just using natural material, not like destructive that can't go back into earth, you know. It's like more natural thing to grow, and to not mass use things, like use whatever you need, because we have everything we need on the planet, and no one has to suffer, has to, you know, go hungry. Everyone can have a roof over their head, clothes on their backs, and a full belly every day, and clean water. I mean, that's possible today, like that. If we just, I mean, we could turn it around very, very fast.
Mm-hmm.
We can.
And some people have in their minds that something big will happen in regards to, let's say, the contact situation with our galactic families. I mean, me personally, as I've come into more of a harmony within myself and connecting with people on a regular basis, the more that you are reaching out and healing people, and then getting back that healing as well in different forms, the more that you will be noticed by different energies and intelligences. They will, indicate that they know that you're doing this work, and they will approach you and make themselves known by way of, let's say, organizing themselves in a certain pattern in the sky where you will see them. You will see these lights consistently, and then you'll start to think, that's a bit too consistent. What is up with the arrangement? Like a triangle shaped pattern, like one bright one and three like lighter colored ones in a triangle, and it's consistent like that. It's either this way or that way, whichever, but it's it I think. And then I, like most people being curious, I took photos and videos, and in the experience and the observation of that consciousness, they actually like blinked out like a light bulb, just a few seconds after I stopped recording. And I actually, in my mind, they pretty much knew that I was waiting for them to kind of either blink or do something, and they didn't do that. So it was more to me personally to know that they are observing, they're there to support us, and they are connected to us personally on a genetic level as well as on a soul level. So some people are thinking, oh, I would like them to land on the grass and actually come out to the spaceship and say hello. Yeah, that's great. That's really exciting. But you have to make the actually leap